It's that time again. I'm off shopping. This is going to be a really long video, I believe. So, where do I start? Right, so I'm going to start from this afternoon. So, I have completed my task. Well, I didn't actually set out to make cushions today. I was going to make one blind, but I thought, let me do the cushions, because when you're sitting at the sewing machine, if you don't have energy, you will fall asleep. Hi, Sarah. You'll fall asleep, so I thought, well, I've got good energy today, so let me use that energy. So I've made my cushions. So while I was making the cushions, because I'm sitting at the sewing machine, I was listening to YouTube videos, and today I decided to do, if you like, a guided tour to African leaders of the past. And sparing details, I came to, I know something about some of them, especially Idi Amin. So I came to him, and I have two things that I like, things that I used to run, and I, of course, do music. So things that I like to do as well, I like sewing. So if you go down my page, you will see my cushions that I made today. And these are things that I enjoy doing. I like to do things that create a result. I like to do creative things. And I used to enjoy running. I don't run now for health reasons. When I say health reasons, I prefer to walk, because it's less stress on the body, and I'll come back to that in a second. So basically, right, so I'm into sport, and I know a bit about the history. So there is this one athlete, and to me, his story is the saddest story ever told. I'm sure there are people who challenge me on that. But he was a 400 meters hurdler from Uganda called John Akii Bua. So all the people from Uganda should know who he is. So he won the Olympic 400 meters title at the Munich Olympics. And he never got a chance to defend his title because Idi Amin was wreaking havoc, just chucking his weight around. And so basically what I'm going to talk about is about, like the thing with the mask and the vaccine, where I absolutely point blank refuse to participate. And I've made up my mind from the very beginning that if I'm being told that I must do something or else, then my alternative, for example, if you say I can't shop unless I take the vaccine, then I will say, okay, I'll starve. But obviously, if you're living in a country where if you say no, they're going to kill you, that's a completely different affair. So basically, because I'm just talking about leadership in general, I don't yield, I don't listen to politicians, so I don't even know what the heck is happening in this country, because I just don't take my leave from politicians. But even with the virus thing, I had to ask someone which shops are open now, because I was breaking sewing machine needles left, right and centre today, so I'm down to 2, and I've got to manage them until Tuesday. But then I don't know if the shop's going to be open, so it will mean having to order some online. So I have no clue what's going on, apart from that, the pubs are supposed to be opening or something. I don't know. I don't know what the details are. I'm just not paying attention, because like I said, these people are not my leaders. I don't listen. Even before the lockdown, I didn't pay pay attention to what's going on politically because they are not my leaders. But as I said, you live somewhere where you've got a tyrant like Idi Amin in charge, and you're going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. You're going to die, and your family is going to die. So what do you do? So basically, this guy was super talented, won the 400 meters hurdle, and didn't get a chance to defend because the leaders were playing politics. They did the same thing with the 1980 Olympics, where the Americans boycotted the Moscow Olympics, and then you had 84 where the Soviet bloc boycotted the 84 Olympics. And it's just people, politicians stuffing up people's careers. So this guy, John Akii Bua, he didn't achieve his potential, or rather he was prevented from being as great as he could be, and he ended up dying at age 47, leaving 11 children behind. His wife died 2 years before him. And this is somebody who could have really gone places, but then you've got these despotic leaders who, on a whim, they can decide who's going to live and who's going to die. And it's on a small, it's worldwide with regards to masks and the vaccines, but you come across headlines where you're being told what you can and can't do. So for me, that is one of the saddest stories ever as regards somebody who had the world at their feet, literally, and because of politics, a despotic leader, not just him, because there are others around the world. Hitler did the same thing. There were some athletes who ended up in concentration camps, and just because some mad despot decided that this is what they are capable of doing, obviously aided and abetted by others. Which brings me back to them, I don't want to keep going on about it, but the masks and the vaccines, where you've got neighbours grassing up their neighbours, right? So it starts small. Obviously we don't live in a country where people are picking up arms and we're at risk of being taken off somewhere and being disappeared. We're not at that stage, but it starts somewhere. And so I'm very familiar with the John Akii Bua story anyway, because I'm heavily into sports. But I just kind of think to myself, what could he have achieved? Now, earlier I was talking to my sister this morning, and I can't remember how it came up, but I was saying to her about the nature of God, because I'm like this, I ask and I expect to receive. But the nature of God is that, like I said, I have no plans to get old. And I don't, when you say that, people think you mean it because you're vain. And it's like, no, it's nothing to do with vanity. It's that I enjoy doing the things I enjoy doing. And I want to have my health, my strength, my vitality. I want to have the same energy that I had. I don't know if you're familiar with the film. I think there's a couple of them called Cocoon, where the old people get rejuvenated, but they're still old. But then they have the energy of themselves when they were younger. So for me, you can actually, I only speak from my own experience. You can reason with God. And I've said, I do not see the point in aging. I absolutely do not see the point in it. And it's not something that I accept to do. So what I was saying to my sister was, there are things that will affect other people. So say for example, can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So if the thing that I want is going to impact others, alright, I'll give you an example. So I could be praying, oh God, please let every day be sunny and hot. And meanwhile it's sunny and hot here. Somewhere else somebody's going to suffer because I'm getting all the sunshine and they're getting all the rain and the wind and the cold weather. So in situations like that, you can pray all you like for perpetual sunshine. That's not going to happen. But whether I age or not, that's not affecting anybody. It's affecting just me. It's not going to have an impact on anybody else's life, just mine. So in those circumstances, and this may sound really weird, like my favorite sports person is Rafa Nadal, and I will only watch matches that as they're happening. So I would never go back and watch a match from, say, 15 years ago when Rafa Nadal first came on the scene, because you see him aging. And I have this thing with sports people where they'd come on the scene and they're young, like Steven Gerrard came on the scene and now he's retired and he's managing, and you just see them come in and they're there 15 years and then off they go, they're retired. And I have issues with that. I think, why does it have to be that way, especially when you've got like a favorite sports person and you can see them coming up to retirement. But like I said, I can only speak for myself in saying that I personally do not plan to participate in the aging process because I don't see any point to it. But that's just me. But in saying that, going back to leadership, I'm sort of combining sports. I'm all over the place with this. But this guy, John Akii Bua, I keep getting his name wrong. Right? He could have been, the guy was poor. He was literally poor because this politician, this despot, wreaked havoc on the country, and he ended up in like a refugee camp in Kenya. And it was, hi gentlemen, it was some, because he was a famous athlete, someone from Puma recognized him on the TV. They were interviewing him, and it's the white German guy recognized him and arranged to take him out of the camp and took him to Germany with his family and gave him a job working for Puma. And I come back to this thing where people, when I say all white people are racist, you see, it was a white guy who rescued him from that situation. And then when Idi Amin had been deposed, he managed to go back to his country. Well, he died in 1997 at the age of 47, which is no age at all, really. But I just think, there are things that I don't put energy on. So, for example, if I can't do something about something, if there's something going on in the world and I can't do anything about it, I don't focus on it because I can't do anything about it. But things that I can do something about, you can bet that I'm going to do what I have to do. So, like, for example, I am showing you now, in over a year, I have not been forced into a mask. They've stopped contacting me now about this vaccine, which I have no intention of taking. And all I can say is that you can see nothing's happened to me. Nobody's come and dragged me off to the police station to lay charges on me. And I just think that the more people put up with something, this nonsense with the lockdowns would not be ongoing were it not for the fact that people are willing to participate. If people had, I'm not saying that people need to emulate me, but if more people had just said, no, I'm not doing this, they would have backed off. Because more often than not, the people, I'll give you an example, there are people sitting there waiting for Donald Trump to come and rescue them. And I keep saying that's not going to happen, because if you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective, God doesn't allow people to take his glory, right? So it's not going to work out the way that people are holding out, expecting it to work out, because that's not how God works. There are things that I need to do in my life, but obviously I am here with my sister. But there is one thing, you don't hear me saying I want to go home now. The reason I'm saying that is because my flat has been taken out of the equation, because it's got mold and I can't move in. So anything that's out of my hands, I don't look at it as a problem, right? It's nothing to do with me. It's just something that will be resolved in due course. So, like with my sister, for example, we're just there getting on with it now and kind of getting into some kind of routine. And, you know, it seems to be working, but that's not going to be my life in the long run. There are things that I need to do, and I know that I need to do them. And so things will work out how they're supposed to work out at such a time. But in the meantime, if I were to put myself in a situation where I'm surrendering my free will and I'm playing along and being, you know, going along with things that I know are not right, just for the sake of it, just for a quiet life or something, then I'm sort of taking myself away from my true path. So I happen to think that, well, I mean, I know me very well, and I know what I will do and what I won't do. So it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. That is not actually affecting my life. The only thing that I can't do is go out socially. But because of my sister's situation, I wouldn't be able to go out socially anyway. So it doesn't make any difference to me at this point. But I think it's very dangerous when people, you know, if you like, play along, surrender to whatever's being asked of them by their leaders. I'm not telling anybody to what to do, but I'm just saying I see, doing my little guided tour of African despotic leaders today while sewing. I see how these things work. You give a man power, when they say power corrupts absolute, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, or whatever. I see the way these things work, and the more you surrender your power, it's the more powerful these people become. They in fact don't have any power. The only power they have is the power that we human beings surrender to them. So I mean, there's a lot that I'm thinking. My mind is racing on a lot of things, but all I can think of at this particular moment is how easy it is to get into a situation where you have no control. You have no control over your life. And if you think about it, a few weeks ago, the vaccine was going to be the miracle cure. Once you get it, that's it. And now you need 2 vaccines, and you still got to wear the mask. And it's just, to me, it's just like the invasion of Iraq all over again, where first of all Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, and then it's regime change, and then it's all sorts of different things, and it goes from one thing to another. And if you go right back and look at this, where it was going to be 2 weeks supposedly to flatten the curve, and here we are a year later, and more is being demanded. So you can't go into the pub potentially unless you've had the vaccine. A year ago there was no talk of that. In a year from now, what will it be? Right, so I just think, well, speaking for myself personally, if you don't set out, if you don't sort of have in your mind what you will and won't do, you got to basically know what you're going to do from the beginning, rather than to be tossed this way and that according to whatever your leader says. Like you're playing Simon Says. If you don't know what you're willing to do, so like I said, for me, I was never willing to wear a mask. I'm not willing to take a vaccine, and that's that. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And all I can say from here is, like I said, I'm just doing that guided tour of Africa, of African leaders rather. I think ultimately there's a saying, we get the leaders we deserve. But I just think for some people, they don't choose a situation, but it's because everybody else complies. And then the few who don't comply, they end up suffering, because obviously they're going to pick off the ones who are least resistant first. So it's just, that's all I really want to say. I think it could get very dangerous if at some point people don't wake up and realize, hang on a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. Like I said, this guy John Akii, I keep getting his name wrong, John Akii Bua, he had so much potential, and because of Idi Amin, he managed to make it to the Munich Olympics, broke the world record, won the gold medal, and then he never got a chance to defend his world record, his Olympic title. That was his career down the pan because of some despot. So for me, myself, I know that there are things that I have to do in my life, and as long as I keep my focus and I keep my determination and I don't comply to things that are not of God, then nothing will prevent me from meeting with what I'm supposed to do in this life. And the same applies to each of you as well. Right, so now I'm going shopping, so you guys take care. See you later. Bye-bye.